Are you ready?
Are you ready?
For a podcast hosted by George T.
Who the hell are you?
I am the movie geek.
Who are you?
I am the movie geek.
You are such a geek.
Thank you.
And now, on with the show.
It's time!
It's showtime.
It's showtime. Here we go.
Hello and welcome back to the Movie Geek Podcast. My name is George Tadino and I'm your host. Today we are going to preview the nominations for the Oscars and the Razzies. I know a lot of you may not be familiar with the Razzies, but the Razzies are the opposite of the Best Picture or Best Actor or whatever. These are awards that are given out to the worst of everything from this past year. So we will go over both of those. We will not do any predictions or anything like that until another podcast. We will also go over some of the Oscar controversies of the snubs and how I feel on that subject. But first, let's get into the Razzie. All right, without further ado, let's get to them. Let's go with the big category first, which is the worst picture of the year. The nominees are The Exorcist, The Believer, Expendables 4, Meg 2, The Trench, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Again, won't give any predictions, but I have a favorite already in the clubhouse. All right, worst actor, Russell Crowe for Pope's Exorcist, Vin Diesel for Fast X, Chris Evans for Ghosted, Jason Statham for Meg 2, and Jon Voight for Mercy. Again, I have worst actress, Megan Fox for Johnny and Clyde, Salma Hayek for Magic Mike, The Last Dance, Jennifer Lopez in The Mother, Helen Mirren for Shazam, Fire of the Gods, and Ana de Armas for Ghosted. Worst supporting actress, Kim Cattrall in About My Father, Megan Fox, Expendables 4, Bei Ling for Johnny and Clyde, Mary Stuart Masterson for Five Nights at Freddy's, and Lucy Liu for Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Worst supporting actor, Michael Douglas in Ant-Man and the Wasp and Quantumania. Same with Bill Murray for that movie. Mel Gibson for Confidential Informant, Franco Nero for Pope's Exorcist, and Sly Stallone, Expendables 4. And then the worst directors, Race Frank Waterford for Winnie the Pooh, David Gardner Green for The Exorcist Believer, Peyton Reed for Ant-Man and the Wasp, Scott Woe for Expendables 4, and Ben Wheatley, Meg 2. So again, those are some of the major categories of the Razzies, and we will get to my predictions in another show. All right, so we got through the Razzies. Now we're going to do the Oscars. So the big category, obviously, the Best Picture of the year. I'm going to go in alphabetical order. American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. Those are your Best Picture nominees. I have my favorite, and again, I will hold that off till the preview show. All right, so Best Actor, Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Colman Domingo for Rustun, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Calvin Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. Best Actress, Annette Bening for Nyad, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Haller for Anatomy of the Fall, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, Emma Stone for Poor Things. Best Supporting Actor, Sterling Brown for American Fiction, Robert De Niro for Killer of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling in Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things. Best Supporting Actress, Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, America Ferrara for Barbie, Jodie Foster for Nyad, and Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. Pretty strong category. Best Director, we have Martin Scorsese for Killer of the Flower Moon, Justin Triet for Anatomy of a Fall, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Yorgos Lanthimos, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Poor Things, and Jonathan Geller for Zone of Interest. Animated feature film, The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nymoran, Robot Dreams, and Spider-Man Across the Spideyverse. Also, there's some other categories which we won't go through right now. We will go through the rest in the next podcast. I must say that I have not seen all of the best pictures. I am working on doing that, so I won't have the best idea, but I do have a favorite in mind. I think y'all know which one it is. So we will see if that changes after I see all of the film. Again, all the categories are very subjective, and I think for the most part they got everything right. However, I do understand the snubs and why people are upset. So let's start with the big one, is Barbie. Barbie, again, kind of getting shut out of a lot of things, especially with not getting a Best Actress award nominee or a Best Director. If you're going to put a movie in the Best Picture category, you would think that you would at least have a Best Director. I think it does have one for Best Screenplay, but you put Ryan Gosling in as Best Supporting Actor and America Ferrera as Best Supporting Actress, but do not give Margot Robbie a nomination. I mean, I do understand that controversy because, I mean, Ryan Gosling should not be in the Best Supporting Actor category. I'm sorry. Just I look at the list and I see, Best Actor, and I'm like, you know what? There's really not a controversy, although there is one for that one, with Leo not getting a nod for Killer of the Flower Moon. But, I mean, who are you going to take off that list? I mean, it's that simple. Best Actress, let's see. You can make a case for Margot Robbie, but it's a pretty strong list, so I couldn't see it at all. However, Best Supporting Actor. I am not convinced that you couldn't take Ryan Gosling off of this at all. And as far as America Ferrera getting Best Supporting Actress, that was a little interesting because she was not nominated for any of the other of the award shows. So for her to jump in there and not get Margot Robbie at least a Best Actress nomination. All right. So again, Barbie, not getting the respect from Hollywood. Again, now this is a men versus women type argument, and it's difficult. It is such an original movie, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. It really isn't, because Barbie is an action figure doll. It is a woman, encompassing the all-American woman from years gone by. So I understand where people are like, well, it made all this money and so on, and the director should have gotten a nod for having a movie that just basically made a ton of money. But looking at the Best Director category, you could say you could take at least one of them out and put her in, but ultimately, is she really going to win it? That's pretty strong. There's two real strong candidates in that category, so I'm just not sure if she can win that, even if she was in it. Then in the Best Documentary category, there were two big snubs, apparently, in this category. American Symphony and Beyond Utopia and Still, a Michael J. Fox story, was left out of that category. Meanwhile, in the animated category, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was left off of there, and they put in a couple of the movies that I'm not even sure that should have been nominated, but against, and again, I'm not going to give anything away, but there's two really strong candidates in there already. Now, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a very good movie. I wasn't expecting much. The animation style was really good, so maybe it does have a case over a couple of these. Also, two directors were left off of the Best Director list. So Not only was Greta Gerwig for Barbie left off the list, but Bradley Cooper was also. He wrote, directed, and starred in Maestro. He did get the nomination for Best Actor, but he was left off of the Best Director. Also, Alexander Payne for Holdovers, which made a lot of money and has won a lot of awards during the award seasons. So you can make a case there, because as far as I could tell, Zone of Interest and Anatomy of Fall could have probably been left out of the director's category. Just saying. So also two movies that underperformed in the Oscar nomination that is surprising is The Color Purple and May December. I will say one thing about The Color Purple. It was an amazing movie when it was original, and I understand Hollywood loves to remake and re-update, reboot, as they say, movies, but do we really need another one? I'm just not sure. Again, the original one was really, really good, and I'm sure I will get to see this one and maybe say the same thing. But right now, I just don't see where, people are like, well, it should have been more nominated. Well, it is a remake or a reboot of an original movie that was actually very, very good. And it won a lot of awards back in 1986. Best Actress was Whoopi Goldberg at the Golden Globes. Blue Ribbon Award for film was Steven Spielberg. Directors Guild of America Award for Outstanding Directing was also Steven Spielberg. So again, it won some awards, but it was nominated and did win a bunch of awards. So there you go. There's your Razzie and Oscar nominations for this year. And again, I have seen a lot of these movies. I will have seen all of these movies before I make my final decisions and predictions when we do that. Right now, the DraftKings has on their website right now odds for the Oscars. And like I said in my previous podcast, the year before, if I had stuck to my guns and actually wanted to bet on the Academy Awards last year, I would have done really well. So I'm hoping that maybe this year I'll actually go through with this and actually do this and see how well I do. All right, now on to some movie news. We have an update on Civil War, the movie I was talking about from A24. It is moving up from its original April 26th date to April 12th. And this is kind of funny and kind of sad at the same time, but they wanted to move this up before the presidential election and all this other stuff because they feel like in an actual civil war, if Donald Trump wins the primary. Look, I know this is, complete and utter, political garbage, but again, moving a movie up about civil war in America, I mean, that's just clickbait stuff, and I bid on it, so you're welcome. Also, we've got an update on Argyle's first weekend at the box office, and it wasn't very good. This is a really good cast, so I will be seeing this film, but not in a hurry to see it now, even though, again, an amazing cast, so this movie must not have much going for it other than a cast. Also, Netflix has also released first images for a movie called The Union. It's starring Mark Wahlberg and Halle Berry. Also, J.K. Simmons will be in it, Jackie Earle Haley, Jessica DeGruy, sorry if I mispronounced that. So not much is known about this movie, but there will be a trailer very soon, either by Netflix release or on the YouTube, where I usually get all my movie trailers. And it is official that Jim Carrey is back for Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which will be released on December 20th. Again, I'm not sure we really need another Sonic movie, but apparently it has made a boatload of money, so I guess there's a need for a Sonic movie. We have an update on a new project that Taika Waititi He is famous for Free Guy and some of the Thor movies, and he also did Jojo Rabbit. He's got Jenna Ortega and Amy Adams to sign on to this movie called Clara and the Sun. Based on a sci-fi book, a robot girl is made to prevent teenagers from feeling lonely in their lives. I don't know. Sounds like Megan 2.0, which I think I heard a rumor about that movie coming out, but it just basically sounds like a bigger Megan. So maybe once we get a little bit more information on this movie and maybe even a trailer, maybe it will look completely different. But right now, it just sounds like another Megan. Brad Pitt will be working alongside Quentin Tarantino in his next movie called The Movie Critic. Not much is known about this just yet, but I would assume Quentin Tarantino will take shots at movie critics. It's basically what I would think that would be, but once we get more information, we will bring it to you. I do love Tim Burton, but I just saw this news about him wanting to do a remake of The Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. Again, Hollywood really needs to stop this. We do not need to go back and reboot every movie or every cheesy movie just because you can. It's just another, I don't know. It's can we get some more original stuff, or can we get some sequels and not remakes, or even some prequels? Like, I don't know. It's just kind of insane to think that we need to go all the way back and redo Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. Well, that's just my opinion, and we'll find out more, obviously, as time goes on. Here's an interesting bit of news. So Pamela Anderson, Dave Bautista, Jamie Lee Curtis will star in Gia Coppola's The Last Showgirl. It is very interesting to see that all those dynamics in one movie. You've got Jamie Lee Curtis, who is an amazing actress. You have Dave Bautista, who's going to be red hot this year after Dune 2 comes out, and other projects. Like, he's been actually very good in almost all of his films. Whether he's doing drama or comedy, he did really well with M. Night Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin and many other movies too. Like, obviously he was really good in Guardians of the Galaxy as Drax, so we'll definitely miss him, and Guardians will miss him as well along the way, but maybe he'll show up in the MCU at some point again. Pamela Anderson hasn't been relevant in a long time, so this is going to be a very interesting film. What we know of this film is Pamela Anderson is a old showgirl who has to figure out what to do with herself after being fired after 30 years in Vegas, and how to mend her relationship with her daughter. No release date yet on this film, but it has wrapped production, but has not set a release date, or whether it will be straight to video or straight to on demand, or it will be in the theaters. So we'll keep you posted on that. But I just thought it was a very interesting dynamic cast where you've got a former wrestler who is kind of going through all of the genres, basically. And you got Jamie Lee Curtis and Pamela Anderson. I mean, again, Pamela Anderson really has been that relevant in a long time. So this should be interesting to find out how this movie goes. A trailer for Netflix's Damsel with Millie Bobby Brown has come out, where she is no damsel in distress in this one. She looks like a badass. Netflix is banking on her stardom with Stranger Things to help this movie out. It has also brought in Angela Bassett, Robin Wright, and Nick Robinson in this movie as well. So this does look pretty badass, and hopefully it will do well on Netflix. Speaking of Netflix, we have more of an update on Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. I'm not sure why it just doesn't say Axel Foley, or just Beverly Hills Cop 4. I mean, that's basically what it is. So we do know it is coming out this year. We also now know more of who the cast will be. Joseph Gordon-Levitt will be in it. Judge Reinhold and John Ashton are coming back, along with Paul Reiser, Bronson Pinchot, and Kevin Bacon. So this movie, going right to Netflix, again, we don't know much about this, but that cast, I mean, who knows what this is going to look like. Hopefully we'll get a trailer or a release date very soon. I just found it very interesting that the original cops that were alongside him, also Paul Reiser, who was trying to help Axel when he went to California, and Bronson Pinchot as Surge. So again, it should be interesting. Hopefully, again, we'll get some more news or trailers soon. And lastly, in movie news, let's see. I don't know when this became a thing, but it's becoming more and more relevant now that every childhood book is now becoming a horror film. We had Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which is part of the Razzies. Probably this one will wind up there as well. Alice in Terrorland. Again, what are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we taking children's books and making them villainous monsters? I don't know much about this, but it is coming out soon. But I read this and I'm like, again, I haven't seen Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey yet, but I will. What was the other movie that came out or coming out is Steamboat Willie, a horrifying Mickey Mouse movie. Again, what are we doing? What are we doing? Now we got Alice in Terrorland. Again, when I get more information on this, but I found it very interesting that we continue to do this. I understand that, there's a genre out there, I guess, for these type of movies. We had Five Nights at Freddy's, which is a little bit different because that was based on a video game, a very popular video game. And I must say, I took my girlfriend, my son, and his girlfriend to see it. Never see a movie with a bunch of teenagers. They never. It's amazing. We missed probably most of the movie because they were screaming or jumping in on things from the game because they knew what it was. At least, I can watch it again on Peacock right now and actually see it. Matthew Lillard was really good in it. Josh Hutcherson was the lead actor in it. So, again, I didn't know much about the game, but the movie was actually pretty okay. But again, Winnie the Pooh, Steamboat Willie, and now Alice in Terrorland. And there's probably a few I missed along the way that I just don't even want to remember. But it cannot be good. It can't. I mean, these movies just can't. So this might be a leader in the clubhouse for next year's Razzies. And finally, lastly, I do want to talk about the passing of Carl Weathers at 76. What an icon to me. He was the epitome of Apollo Creed, and he was such a great actor. He was also in Predator alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was in Happy Gilmore, Chubbs Peterson, the golf pro. I mean, it was just amazing. I actually got to meet him at the Rhode Island Comic Con several years ago. He was actually a player for the Oakland Raiders. We had talked about that. We also talked about Rocky. We also talked about Happy Gilmore. He was a really, really, really nice guy, and it is sad to see that he passed away at the age of 76. And all I got to say is keep punching, Apollo.
But there is one last thing.
All right, so this weekend's box office premiere will be Lisa Frankenstein, as Diablo Cody's directing this movie, so it should be pretty decent. It's gotten pretty good reviews so far. So in limited release, Out of Darkness, this was one of my top 25 movies that I listed. I'm going to be looking forward to whatever theater shows this movie, and I will go definitely see this movie. All right, so thank you very much for tuning in this week, and I hope that you continue to do so. Obviously, this is still a work in progress, and I'm hoping that it is working on you guys to come back every single week. I will not preview next week's show. I've got a lot of shows that I'm trying to record at the moment, so I'm not sure which order I want to bring them out in. So as they say on TV, tune in next week for another exciting episode of The Movie Geek. Goodbye for now, and hope to see you at the movies.
You like that, baby? Let him know where I came from, yeah!
See you next time. Bye.
Waiting for you. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Hasta la vista, baby.